Hello, my dear little brothers and sisters. Today we are going to learn about wonders of the living world. The first lesson of grade 6. The environment is our surrounding, including us. It consists of land, water bodies, houses, plants, and animals. Uh, I think you can understand this sentence, right? Okay. Uh, then let's see some different types of environments. In the first environment, you can see buildings, vehicles, and people going here and there. And in the next environment, you can see two farmers or men, bulls, trees, mountains, paddy field, trees, a temple also, right? Okay. In the third environment, you can see some animals like monkeys, elephant, deers, birds, squirrels, flowers, trees, river, mountains, many more things in that environment. You can see, yeah. In the last environment, you can see a coconut tree, some birds, sheep, a boat also, sea, fisherman the sheep fish. In the far you can see, right? It's floating on the water. Now let's categorize the things of this environment into two groups. We have to categorize them into two groups as living things and non-living things. The components with the growth are called living things, and the components without a growth are called non-living things. Okay. Now let's see the examples for living things and non-living things. First, let's see the examples for living things. Man, animals, birds, trees. There are some examples for living things. And now let's see the examples for non-living things. Water, bicycle, stone, pen, books, desk, table. There are many more examples that okay. Are there any organisms except plant and animals? Let's do activity 1.1 to find about that. You will need some water taken from a pond, water rotten with hay, a compound microscope, slides and cover slips method. Put the water taken from a pond onto one slide and water rotten with hay to another slide. Observe them under a compound microscope. Okay. Now let's see the observation. Observation. You will be able to observe tiny organisms, right? Okay. Now you can clearly understand that living things can be divided into three categories. As animals, plants, and microorganisms. Then let's see examples for plants. Coconut tree, jack tree, bamboo, and papaya are some examples for plants. What are the examples for animals? Deer, fish, butterfly, parrot, snail. There are some examples for animals. Okay. Now let's see the examples for microorganisms. Amoeba, chlamydomonas, paramecium, and bacteria are some examples for microorganisms. Okay. And okay, what are microorganisms? Do you know the answer? Okay, let's see the answer. The organisms that cannot be observed with our naked eye are called microorganisms. A large number of microorganisms can be seen in water, soil, air, and in rotten food. The compound microscope is used to observe the things that cannot be seen with our naked eye. Okay, my dear brothers and sisters, now tell me what is the instrument that used to observe microorganisms? Yes, that is the microscope. the compound microscope. But some microorganisms like viruses cannot be observed through the compound microscope. So we use the electron microscope to observe some microorganisms such as viruses. And the viruses are the smallest group of microorganisms. Now let's learn about characteristics of organisms. Growth, nutrition, movements, respiration, and reproduction are the characteristics of organism. Now let's talk about growth. The increase of size, height, or amount is called the growth. In here now you can see the kitten has grown to a cat. It increases its size, height, and amount. And you can, when you consider about the coconut tree, the same. You can see it has grown. The increase of height, weight, and amount. That's called the growth. I think you can understand that also. Now, the germination and growth of a seed. Now you can see the seed has been grown to a plant. That's the germination and growth of a seed. Okay. Now let's talk about second one, nutrition. Satisfying the food requirements of organisms is called the nutrition. Most green plants produce their food within themselves. Hence, these plants are called autotrophic. This may be a question for your exam also. Okay. Okay. They use carbon dioxide from air, soil, water, and sunlight to produce food. This process is called the photosynthesis. You can see the plant is getting sunlight and carbon dioxide, water, and soil, and releasing oxygen, right? In here, what is the main function of plant leaf? That is the photosynthesis. I think you can understand this process also. Animals can't produce their own food. They depend on plants and animals directly or indirectly. Therefore, animals are considered as heterotrophic. Animals such as deer, cows, giraffes and the herbivorous animals take plants as food. They depend on plants directly. Okay, but the animals such as tiger, lion take flesh as food, so they depend on animals indirectly. Now you can see a cow eating grass and a lion eating flesh. Okay, now let's move on to the third one, movements. Animals moving from one place to another place is called the locomotion. There are special adaptations for animals for locomotion. Here are some several locomotional methods. Okay, swimming, creeping, running, flying, and walking are some locomotional methods. There are some animals that cannot locomote, but they show different movements. Examples for them, they are coral polyps and sea anemones. These are some animals that belongs to Cnidarian group. They are invertebrates. Okay. After touch, the leaves of mimosa or touch me not plant shows a sleeping movement. Also, Katurumurunga tamarind leaves show sleepy movements in the evening. These are some examples of movements of plants. In this figure, you can see before touching the mimosa plant and after touching the mimosa plant. Okay. The next characteristic is respiration. Oxygen in the air, once breathed in, reacts with the food stored in the body and produces energy. This process is called respiration. In this process of respiration, oxygen is used and carbon dioxide is released. Okay, activity 1.2. You will need a straw, a test tube, and colorless calcium hydroxide solution. Method: put some colorless calcium hydroxide solution into a test tube. Then bubble the exhaled air into the test tube. You can see that very clearly in this figure also. You have to bubble it, right? Okay, now let's see the observation. Colorless calcium hydroxide changes into off-white. Okay, you can see in this figure that colorless hydroxide solution, calcium hydroxide solution changes into off-white. Conclusion: the exhaled air contains carbon dioxide. Reproduction: a matured living being producing new members of the same species is called the reproduction. Here you can see the reproduction of plants and animals. Okay, you have to observe that with your textbook also. So this is the end of our today's lesson. Let's meet again in part 2 of this lesson. Subscribe our channel, like and share this video. So thanks for watching.